The Women of Saturday Night Live. Queens of Comedy. 1975 to 1999. Over the past 50 years, Saturday Night Live has been a comedy institution. Hundreds of incredibly talented writers, crew, and performers have scrambled to produce 90 minutes of live, usually funny, television at 11:30 each week. And many have gone on to incredible careers after leaving 30 Rock. 167 cast members have strutted their stuff in Studio 8H. And while they all deserve their laurels, today let's meet the 60 women who have made us laugh on Saturday nights, some of whom you may not remember were on the show. We'll highlight their famous bits and characters from SNL, and look at what else you might know them from. And now, live from New York, it's Saturday night. The 7 original not ready for primetime players who launched the show back in 1975 included Gilda Radner, who was the first one cast. She came up in the Second City comedy troupe in Toronto, Canada, then moved to New York to perform in the National Lampoon Radio Hour. She and fellow cast members John Belushi and Chevy Chase were poached by Lorne Michaels for the freshman cast of SNL. Gilda impersonated Barbara Walters, or Baba Wawa, and created many side-splitting characters, including Candy Slice and Roseanne In 1979, Gilda performed a hit one-woman Broadway show featuring racier versions of her SNL characters. After leaving SNL in 1980, Gilda worked on several films, including Hanky Panky, where she met Gene Wilder. They married in 1985 and made 2 more movies together. Gilda was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and died in 1989, aged 42. On SNL, frequent host Steve Martin paid a tearful tribute to Gilda, and a 1988 sketch of them dancing together was re-aired. Gilda was one of only 4 female cast members to have a Best Of DVD released in the early 2000s. Jane Curtin was known as the Queen of Deadpan, which worked perfectly for her Weekend Update newscast. She also played Primat Conehead and reprised the role in the 1993 film. After SNL, Jane won 2 Emmys for her sitcom Kate and Allie, and starred in Third Rock from the Sun. Laraine Newman was a founding member of the legendary LA improv troupe The Groundlings, which produced many more SNL stars. Lorne hired her for a Lily Tomlin TV special, then cast her in SNL. She played Miss Christy Christina and Connie Conehead. Since leaving the show, Laraine has amassed an extensive list of voice acting credits, including Finding Nemo, WALL-E, Up, and Inside Out. Traditionally, TV comedy writers' rooms were a male-only space, but in the 60s and 70s, women began to push their way in. Rosie Schuster, Lorne's wife, was a crucial part of getting SNL off the ground. She is the daughter of comedian Frank Schuster. Rosie, Ann Beats, and Marilyn Miller were writers in the early days and helped to craft the show's cutting-edge sensibility, which made it a smash success. Rosie created the Killer Bees and the first sketch with Roseanne. In the young, free-loving vibe of the 70s, Rosie had an affair with Dan Aykroyd, who was also seeing Gilda and Laraine. Many writers and players were also abusing cocaine to get through the grueling schedule of creating a fresh show every week. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll caused a lot of tension in Studio 8H. In 1980, Lorne and Rosie divorced, but remained on good terms. She wrote for several other shows, including Gilda's run on Broadway. She continued to be involved in SNL over the years. She helped Eddie Murphy develop characters and helped Dana Carvey create The Church Lady. After a successful 5 first seasons, Lorne felt run down and requested a long hiatus from SNL to work on other projects. NBC said no, so he called their bluff and quit. The network replaced him with casting director Jean Doumanian, SNL's only female executive producer. She invited the original cast to stay, but they all left with Lorne. Jean had to cobble together a new cast, and while they certainly had talent, they were compared poorly to the brilliance of the original players. Denny Dillon was a Broadway actress who later appeared on sitcoms Dream On and Women in Prison. She was the first LGBTQ SNL cast member, though she was not out at the time. Anne Risley was discovered by Woody Allen. She described her year on SNL as horrible. She went on to shoot 2 unsuccessful pilots and appear on soap operas. Anne now runs an improv studio in Tucson, Arizona. Yvonne Hudson was a receptionist at 30 Rock before becoming the first Black female cast member. She has not appeared on TV since. Gail Matthius was spotted at the Comedy Store in LA. She co-anchored Weekend Update. Her Valley Girl character, Vicky, was considered a high point of SNL's lowest-rated season. She has moved on to voice acting and teaching. Season 6 received headlines like Saturday Night Dead and Vile from New York. Late in the season, cast member Charles Rocket dropped an F-bomb on live TV. NBC used this as an excuse to fire Jean Doumanian and replace her with Dick Ebersole. He scrambled to add a few new faces to end Season 6 strongly, including Laurie Metcalf, who appeared in only one episode. She was not asked back for the next season, but moved on to play Jackie Harris on Roseanne from 1988 to 97. Laurie has won 3 Emmys and become a mainstay in sitcoms, appearing in Third Rock from the Sun, Monk, Desperate Housewives, and The Big Bang Theory. Emily Prager was a writer on the show who technically became a cast member but was never in any sketches. She has since gone back behind the word processor and writes humorous articles for the New York Times and The Guardian. During the 1981 summer hiatus, Ebersol cleaned house. Only Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo survived the mass firing. Ebersol recast the show with Christine Ebersole. Their similar last names is a coincidence. She had appeared on Broadway and in soap operas. She co-anchored Weekend Update and impersonated newlywed Princess Diana. Christine left after 1 season. She has since had a significant career in theater and made guest appearances on Will and Grace, Just Shoot Me, Murphy Brown, Ally McBeal, Boston Legal, and Royal Pains. Robin Duke was chosen to replace her SCTV co-star Catherine O'Hara when she was cast on SNL but decided not to leave Canada. During Robin's 3 seasons on SNL, she was known for Wendy Weiner. She has also appeared in Groundhog Day, Schitt's Creek, and co-founded touring comedy troupe Women Fully Clothed. Mary Gross was scouted from Second City in Chicago. She co-anchored what was briefly renamed SNL Newsbreak, did a myriad of celebrity impressions, and played Alfalfa in Little Rascals sketches. After 4 seasons, she moved on to shows including Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was born in New York City to a French billionaire. Rather than join the family financial firm, she went her own way by performing comedy in Chicago. At 21, she landed in Studio 8H and found the experience thrilling but difficult to navigate. After 3 seasons, Julia left and was never seen again. Just kidding. In 1990, former SNL writer Larry David got Julia cast as Elaine Bennis on Seinfeld. She was the lead female on the most successful comedy show of the 1990s. After 76 million people tuned in for the series finale, Julia moved on to star in The New Adventures of Old Christine and Veep. Julia married her SNL co-star Brad Hall in 1987. They have 2 sons. In 2006, she became the first female former cast member to come back to host Saturday Night Live. She returned again in 2007 and 2016. Julia has received more Emmys and Screen Actors Guild Awards than any other performer in history. Pamela Stephenson may have been a blip on the U.S. comedy scene, but she is better known across the pond. Born in New Zealand, she moved to the UK to star in parody program Not the 9 O'Clock News, and as a damsel in distress in History of the World Part 1. In season 10 of SNL, she impersonated Billy Idol and Cyndi Lauper. After 1 season, she moved back to the UK to marry Scottish stand-up Billy Connolly. Pamela earned a PhD in clinical psychology, wrote self-help books, and presented Shrink Wrap, a psychology-based celebrity interview series. She also strutted her stuff on Strictly Come Dancing. In 1985, Lorne Michaels agreed to return to the show. He recast SNL with established, recognizable performers, including Joan Cusack, who had appeared alongside her brother John in several hit movies, including 16 Candles. On the show, she played recurring socially awkward Selena and impersonated Brooke Shields and Queen Elizabeth. After her single season, Joan became a fixture in Hollywood. She was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for Working Girl and In and Out. Joan also starred in Addams Family Values, School of Rock, and voiced Jessie in the Toy Story franchise. She has won 5 Emmys for Shameless. Danitra Vance came up in Chicago's Second City and off-Broadway theater. On SNL, she played a recurring character of a Black woman who is repeatedly passed up for roles. This echoed reality, where she grew frustrated with the stereotypical characters written for her. After departing the show, she returned to theater in Spunk by Zora Neale Hurston and The Colored Museum. She had small parts in movies and TV. Danitra won an NAACP Image Award in 1986. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1990 and shared her mastectomy experience in a live show. She died in 1994, age 40. Her funeral was held at an amusement park. The 11th season was a ratings flop. As the cast said their goodbyes in the finale, fake flames appeared on the screen, and credits rolled with question marks after each name. This was meant to be a parody of a dramatic cliffhanger, but it was clear that many careers were in jeopardy. Only 5 cast members escaped the firing, and the only woman among them was Nora Dunn. She rose to fame during 5 seasons with celebrity impressions and recurring characters, including melodramatic French sex worker Babette and the Sweeney Sisters. In 1990, she made headlines by boycotting a show hosted by misogynist Andrew Dice Clay. Nora has since appeared in several projects, including The Nanny, The X-Files, and Bones. Jan Hooks started in The Groundlings, jumped to TV in Dick Clark's The Half-Hour Comedy Hour, and HBO's Not Necessarily the News. Her first movie role was in Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. She joined SNL in 1986 and became a crucial part of the best cast since the original. She joined Nora as the other Sweeney sister and played political wives, including Hillary Clinton. Jan suffered stage fright and grew weary after 5 seasons of performing a live show. She took over a role on the hit sitcom Designing Women and has since appeared on Third Rock from the Sun, 30 Rock, and The Simpsons. Jan died of throat cancer in 2014, age 57. SNL paid tribute to her by airing the short film Love is a Dream, during which she danced with Phil Hartman. The same film was played after Phil's murder in 1988. Victoria Jackson has been a gymnast from a young age. While working day jobs and performing comedy in LA, she got her big break on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. She recited poetry while doing a handstand. The bit was a hit, and she appeared on Carson 20 more times. She joined SNL in 1986, where she repeated the bit on Update, impersonated Roseanne Barr, Sally Struthers, and Zsa Zsa Gabor. Victoria appeared in several movies, including Baby Boom, I Love You to Death, and Casual Sex. After 6 seasons, she left to film her own sitcom opposite George Clooney, but the show was canned before airing. In between small film and TV roles, Victoria is an outspoken Christian conservative. Julia Sweeney was discovered at The Groundlings. During her 5 seasons on SNL, her most popular character was gender-ambiguous Pat. She reprised the role for a feature film, which was a massive flop. After leaving SNL, both Julia and her brother were diagnosed with cancer. The one-woman show she developed to deal with it, God Said Ha, was a hit on Broadway. Julia has created 3 more monologue shows and made numerous TV and movie appearances, including in Stuart Little, Shrill, and American Gods. In 1991, 4 new female cast members were hired. Siobhan Fallon made her TV debut in The Golden Girls, which got her hired on SNL for 20 episodes. After leaving the show, she played Elaine's annoying roommate on Seinfeld. Siobhan has since become a staple character actress, appearing in Men in Black, Forrest Gump, Holes, and Daddy Daycare. Beth Cahill was discovered doing improv at the Annoyance Theater in Chicago, along with Melanie Hutzel. During her single season, she was in recurring sketch Delta 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 Sorority Girls. Beth is still active in Improv Olympics and Second City in Los Angeles and designs her own line of dresses. Melanie Hutzel was the other half of Beth's The Real Life Brady Bunch show at the Annoyance Theater. They were hired together and repeated the bit on SNL, but Melanie managed to stay on the show for 3 seasons. She took a break from showbiz to raise her children, then returned for small roles, including in Bridesmaids. Ellen Cleghorn came up in the New York comedy scene. She appeared on Def Comedy Jam and in Living Color, from which she was scouted by SNL. She performed celebrity impressions and recurring character Zoraida and NBC Paige, and Queen Shaniqua. She left after 4 seasons to star in her own sitcom alongside fellow SNL alum Garrett Morris and a young Sherry Shepherd. Ellen has appeared in several movies, including Mr. Wrong, Little Nicky, and Old School. She came in 3rd in Worst Cooks in America, Celebrity Edition. The early 90s was dominated by breakout stars Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Chris Farley, and David Spade, dubbed the bad boys of comedy. While they shined, many female cast members struggled to get airtime and fizzled out. But they went on to bigger careers after SNL. Sarah Silverman started doing stand-up at 17. At 23, she was hired as a writer and featured player. She later admitted that she wasn't ready for the show. Only one of her sketches made it to dress rehearsal and was cut before air, but she did appear as a minor character in other sketches. After 18 weeks, Sarah was let go. Ever since, she has been a strong voice in stand-up comedy and has appeared on Mr. Show, Seinfeld, Comedy Central Roasts, and School of Rock. The Sarah Silverman program ran for 3 seasons. She voices Vanellope von Schweetz in Disney's Wreck-It Ralph franchise. She is an outspoken liberal. Janeane Garofalo was a stand-up and cast member on The Ben Stiller Show and The Larry Sanders Show before joining SNL in 1994. She left after 6 months, saying the experience left her anxious and depressed, and that sexism pervaded the show and forced her into dull, secondary wife characters. Janeane has since appeared in over 50 movies, including The Truth About Cats and Dogs, Wet Hot American Summer, Reality Bites, and Mystery Men. She is an outspoken liberal feminist. Laura Keitlinger was a writer and cast member for 1 season. She moved on to write for Will and Grace and 2 Broke Girls. She has had 9 stand-up specials on HBO and Comedy Central. She was in a relationship with Jack Black for 9 years and also appeared on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Morwenna Banks only appeared on SNL for 4 episodes. She is also better known in the UK. She appeared in sketch show Absolutely, voiced Mummy Pig on Peppa, and is currently a writer on the hit spy thriller Slow Horses. Nancy Walls started in Second City, Chicago, where she met Steve Carell. They married during her single season at SNL. The couple moved on to The Daily Show, where Nancy was a correspondent for 16 years. She also appeared on The Office and co-created Angie Tribeca. In 1995, the Bad Boys left for Hollywood, and the show was retooled. Several new, unknown players were brought in to make their own indelible mark. This is the cast that got me hooked on SNL when I was in middle school. Molly Shannon waited tables on Sunset Boulevard while auditioning for parts. She nabbed roles in a horror remake of Phantom of the Opera, Twin Peaks, and in Living Color, before being hired to replace Janeane Garofalo mid-season on SNL. Her side-splitting recurring bits over 7 seasons include The Dog Show, NPR's Delicious Dish, Sally O'Malley, and of course, Mary Catherine Gallagher, who got her own movie, Superstar, in 1999. She also appeared in Night at the Roxbury, Never Been Kissed, Marie Antoinette, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Wet Hot American Summer, Other People, Only Murders in the Building, and more. In 2003, Molly became the second female cast member to get a Best Of DVD. In 2007, she became the second to return to host the show. SNL producers came to LA to check out Chris Kattan at the Groundlings. They were so impressed that they offered Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry jobs as well. For 5 years, Sherry created numerous recurring characters, including the Spartan Cheerleaders, and Nadine, yeller of Simmer Down Now. Sherry has since appeared in Liar Liar, Scary Movie, and other projects. She got a Best Of DVD in 2006. Anna Gasteyer was also recruited from the Groundlings in 1996. Over 6 seasons, she became known for NPR's Delicious Dish and her impressions of Martha Stewart and Celine Dion. Anna also appeared in Mean Girls and Suburgatory. She frequently acts on Broadway and has played Elphaba in Wicked and Queen Agravain in Once Upon a Mattress. In the next episode, we'll meet the hilarious women of this century of SNL history and see how stars including Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, and Kate McKinnon elbowed their way in to make women a bigger voice in comedy. Want even more tea on history? Check out the History Tea Time podcast. Don't want to wait to see the next episode? Patrons get exclusive early access to all of my multi-part series. If you would like to join my Patreon and help me make more fascinating videos, click on the link in the description. Thank you for watching.